Hey everyone, I am on live as a surprise today. Today was not scheduled. I usually have my newsletter that sends out an update and doing one, but I wanted to just jump on here real quick and say a quick hello. So excited. It's a beautiful day today. It's Friday. But I wanted to touch base, answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to be opening it up to questions today. So if you have any questions, please share what grade your kid is in, what you're looking for, or any question you might have that you'd want to ask about college admissions. Today is the day to ask it. I also wanted to share what I would do if I had a rising senior or if I was a rising senior today in admissions, and what to be preparing for before school starts. So again, hi everybody. I see a lot of people joining. Hi, Oahu Sunrise Sunsets, Silver Coin Indian Grill, NGC 0605, Ani CM, and GPNA Nadimpali as well. So great to see you guys on. So here's the things that I would be doing if I had applications opening very soon. So here are some tips. So for a lot of you, you may not know, but applications open August 1st. That's in less than 4 weeks. And what does that mean exactly? The Common App, which is at commonapp.org, you'll go to the website, create your login, your password, and what you'll do is you will add your colleges to your list. And so you'll go to the college tab, add each college name, and you add it to the list. Now, when the application opens, it specifically means that you can absolutely submit on August 1st, by the way. But most students don't do that. When applications open, it means that you can fill out, all of the information. So I'm going to share a little bit about the different information that's there. Quick hellos real quick. Hi, YTHW, Dr. Lavana Heller. Hi, Erica Lewis Huntley. Hi, Jasmine Singh. Feel free to pop in a question in the chat. Today is an Ask Me Anything today. So I just want to make sure that, we are good to go. And you can ask any question in the comments. And then, of course, I do hold, and I'm going to put this in the comments as well, I do hold group calls that I do for families for free to present about what we do at College Shortcuts, as well as more about, your student's profile. And I can do that too, but feel free to ask your question here too. Okay, I put in the chat if you want to schedule a call with me, it's right there. All right, so things I would do if you have a rising senior. First, applications open August 1st. It is almost mid-July. So things that should be complete by now. 1, GPA figured out and it's done. Transcripts, you know what they are. Get them ordered from your school. Look at them. Second is I would have your school list already finalized and already what you're interested in from a major perspective already decided. So for example, I had a mom email me a list of colleges. It was upwards of 22 colleges. Just so you guys know, Common App only allows for 20 applications itself. You also need to check with your high school counselor. Many actually limit. We know that some of the most prestigious private schools sometimes will limit students' list by 10 to 18 max colleges. So make sure you know, because they have to submit all of their paperwork to every single college. So a lot of them will limit that specifically. I'm not saying that's fair or unfair. I'm just letting you know that's just data. I do have thoughts on it, but I won't be sharing that. So Common App allows for a max of 20, but I want to share with you guys, when you apply to so many schools, you are putting your senior through the ringer. They are going to have to write upwards of 100 to 160 essays, depending on that school list. And that is a lot of supplemental essays. So first things first, if you have a senior and you have not decided the school list, that needs to get figured out as soon as possible. My recommendation after that is then to look at every single page of the Common App. Take a look at all the information that they ask, from your demographic information, your address, where you work, all the courses the student took, all this sort of parental and student information. Get it all ready. Have it ready. You can do it on a separate document, or you can do it in the Common App itself, but make sure you have all of that information done. That stuff can take, I'd say, 1 to 3 hours or so to get all of that demographic stuff together, just so that you have it ready to go. And that information gets sent to every college. It's exactly the same. After that, the next page of the application will say activity list or attached resume. Now, here's where I see the number one mistake in admissions when it comes to the application. Most people think, oh, let me just fill it out right in these empty boxes. Absolutely not. No one that works with us at College Shortcuts fills out that application until it's on a Google document, all finalized, all hand edited, and then it gets put into the application. So please do not just input information because you think, oh, it's just a form. Yes, it's a form, but they're reading every word that you say. So the activity list in the Common App allows for what we call drop downs. The drop down can include things like, did you do research? Did you do an internship? Did you do a community service thing? Did you do an extracurricular club? Did you do a sport? Was it, and so they have all these drop downs. You select that drop down and then you give a title to what that is. And I will tell you how you title and how you write your 150 character description is a big deal. So making sure that you have everything written beautifully and edited for your activity list, and then really a great format for your resume. All of our families that work with us have our resume suggested template that we've seen work year after year. Many of our students have gotten 6-figure, 7-figure job offers after college, within college, to get all of their amazing things from the resume that we use, so we know it's very effective. I want to do a quick hello again. I see here we've got, I'm going to pin my comment at the top, everybody. I see we have Simply Paro. Hi, Paro. Hi, Pyle. Nice to see you. Yuchander, Alexin. Hi, Reka. Hi, Naveen. Nice to see you guys. So if you're on, please ask a question. Let me know what grade your kid is in, and I can kind of talk a little bit to that for you and where you're from. That'll be awesome. Today's more of an Ask Me Anything casual. As you can see, I've got my casual look for today. So let's say you've done your demographic info. You've looked at the Common App website. You've added your colleges. You've put in, the transcript information, the classes you take. You put in all your summer things. You put in the activity list and the resume. Then the next step is the essays. And this is the part that most people don't realize takes so much work. Oh, perfect, Erica. Great. I'm totally addressing you if you got a rising senior. Awesome. Hi, Sudha. Nice to see you on. Okay, so the essays are the part that most people think, oh, I'll just input it here. It's just 650 words. Or, oh, they're asking me why I want to go to this college. I'll just write it right in here. Again, this is the part where you put it outside, put it in the Google document, put it on your piece of paper, and write those out. With our families on the essay process, we have a specific lifeline methodology we use with our coaches to build the best stories and the best narratives and the best hero's journey. And recently I was talking with somebody who runs the #1 health podcast in the world. And I was able to meet with them. I listened to them speak, and I realized that it is the way we share our story that captivates people. And if you are not able to do that effectively in the college admissions process, you are typically missing out on the acceptance. And from my perspective, I don't think they're teaching this in high school. They definitely didn't teach it when I was in high school, and I went to a very high-end college prep high school. It was over $45,000 a year that my parents invested in. They did everything they could to send us to good schools. I remember my mom would say, Neha, I buy the cheapest shampoo conditioner so I can send you to school, right? And, they worked really hard to give us a good education. And I will tell you, even in the college admissions process, I was scarred. It was very painful, ridden with anxiety and stress. I remember having a panic attack before my Spanish 5 AP exam. And it was kind of one of those rock bottom moments for me, where I really was questioning, what am I doing this all for? And I really built College Shortcuts to avoid the mental stress that students have. And if you look at today's stats, we have high levels, the highest levels of teenage stress, teenage mental health issues, depression, anxiety, highest rate of suicide in teenagers today. And to me, the work that we do is really big on helping to avoid and reduce these types of outcomes in our students because they have somebody by their side in detail. So I really want to share that with you because I think a lot of parents think, hey, let me just do it on my own with my kid. But it can be very, very stressful and really tough. And most school counselors are slammed and busy. So they're not able to give the level of detail needed when you're about to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in your kid's education. So at College Circuits, we really take this process seriously. So I see here Erica asked a great question. Not sure if my son should include summer programs. Absolutely. All of these are amazing, Erica. So here we see Erica's son did Michigan Ross Summer Business Academy. And by the way, Michigan Ross is a very challenging application. If you look at their essays, they ask questions that are so hard. We know some of the questions have in the past ranged from like, send me your business plan, or, tell us something that you would launch. And they're really serious about those details. Notre Dame Summer Scholars in Accounting, TCU High School Investor Challenge, UC Irvine Financial Planning. So wow, looks like we've got a student here. Erica, wonderful job on your extracurriculars. Not everybody does this, which is so cool to see. But it's really clear, just listening to the few things she wrote here in a comment, this student is passionate about business and finance and investing. Type in yes, Erica, if that's correct, if I've read that right. And these summer activities are what's going to be put into the resume, the activity list, and it's going to really boil down to how he explains it. So for example, if a student goes to, let's say, Michigan Ross Summer Business Academy, and maybe they don't live there, they flew up there to that program, they went there by themselves, there's a lot they can talk about their experience. Now, if they just say, oh, I went to Michigan Ross Summer Program, my mom signed me up for it, I really wasn't sure about it, and, I just sat there for 5 days. First of all, what a waste of money for the parent, right? That'd be frustrating. And I'm sure, Erica, that's not what your son would say. But some students write things like this, and it's better not to put it on if you have nothing beautiful to say about it. Now, this student really has done some incredible things, and it could be, for example, they go to TCU High School Investor Challenge, and they say in their essay something along the lines of, and keep in mind, I'm a creative, so my team and I really, I've probably read over 20,000 essays in the last 20 years or so, or probably more. My math is not very strong, but I can tell you I'm very good at writing. And what I can tell you is, hi, Kirti. Hi, ITI Kana. Nice to see you. We're talking about, Erica asked a beautiful question about her son. If you have any questions, throw it in the chat, guys. But Erica asked a beautiful question about her son and the activities. These are incredible things that you invested in with your student. And so her son did the TCU High School Investor Challenge. So just off the cuff, right? Because it takes a lot of massaging out, writing, editing, brainstorming, outlining. But I could imagine a student writing something along the lines of, I walked into this investor camp not knowing anything about investing. And I walked out realizing that investing is not only a way to create generational wealth, but a way to really understand economics and the markets. That is a really interesting hook, for example. Or it could be something, and I don't know anyone's family situation, but it could be anything like, I went to the financial planning workshop and I found out that 80% of Americans are in debt. And I was floored and wanted to make sure that in my lifetime, I never do that with my family. And here's what I learned at UC Irvine. Erica, type in yes, or anybody, and hi Shweta, nice for joining. Thanks for joining. Type in yes, anybody that understands what I mean when I say these types of hooks or these types of writing examples. Because what will happen is your son's going to have an essay prompt that asks, what brings you joy? Or what are some activities you've been involved in that you find passion or interest? Or it might be something a little bit more different, like, what do you want to major in? And how does that tie into the university? Well, there would be the opportunity in a 500-word essay to add maybe one or two of these different things and write about it in a way that's very compelling. The number one thing they are looking for in the writing is emotion. Do not just, you want to be able to show them. They want to feel like they were with you at that camp. They want how does it taste, feel, experience, emotions, smell, senses, all of that. Don't just tell them. So for example, I'm gonna walk you through one of my favorite things in the summer. I'm gonna show you the boring version first, and then I'm gonna show you the way that it could be written for a college experience. I walked in and around the Santa Barbara Farmers Market, and I went to 5 different stalls. I found peaches that were really good, and I ate one. It was glorious. Okay, that's the boring version. Here's the not so boring version. As I walked and the hot sun poured onto my face, I sniffed my way through every peach at the Santa Barbara Farmers Market. As I was walking, a hand jutted out in front of me with half a peach in front of my face and screamed, "Do you want to taste this?" At first, I was shocked at the generosity of giving me half a peach, because most of the time it's a tiny, tiny piece. I take a bite as the juice drips down my nice white shirt, and I smile. I then buy 4, and through the last 4 days, I ate a peach that spilled onto my shirt or my plate every morning. The juiciness of the peach is what brings me complete joy in life, to see that something out of nothing could be made and taste so good. Type in yes if your mouth is salivating. Mine is. So the reason why I share it that way, because, and by the way, this is a real story. This really did happen. And I really do feel this way about peaches. We are in the summer. I'm based out of Texas, but I've lived all over, and I've had incredible produce everywhere. You may not know this, but I did do culinary school for fun at one point, because again, I'm an artist, I'm a creative. I love just making beautiful things out of paint, out of writing, out of food. And one of my favorite things in life is incredible produce. It's just something that brings me insane joy. So I was describing with you a little bit about the last few days, but I wanted to share this with you because I think so many people forget how to take a moment and enjoy things and slow down and then be able to write from that place. So for example, and if anyone has any more questions, I'm going to roll out, but I want to make sure that I answer any questions you might have. I've pinned here, by the way, if you would like to talk with me personally, please schedule a call at collegeshortcuts.com/apply. You can absolutely schedule a call. We love connecting with every one of our families. But Erica, your son has done some really cool things. And, you've obviously invested time, money, energy. I know you don't live in all of these places, so you're doing all this work. These are all experiences that can be written about in a really beautiful way. And I do feel at this time our education system is broken. It is not teaching our children how to write effectively. It is not teaching our children how to interview, how to sell who they are, how to present well, how to dress a certain way, how to do all the things that matter to apply to something that is highly competitive and get in. And so at College Shortcuts, we really believe we are changing the way our students are educated on the skills that actually matter in life. My team of 20 who honestly are angels, they absolutely love the work they do. They range from SAT, ACT coaches to the next gen inspiration leaders of the world in their industries, from, engineering, medicine, psychology, art. We have people in every major and every form. Even, people that are so passionate about, just changing the next generation. We all know we need better people in these industries. And they're there to help students to ignite their potential, to uplift their energy and spirit, and to have an adult by their side as a mentor, one-on-one, really pouring into them. And I meet so many people every single day who, share with me. Whenever I share what I do with someone, they'll say, "Man, I wish I had that. I spent years figuring out what I wanted to do. I had no money. I was trying to figure out things." I had people to come up to me and say, "I was the first to go to school in my year, like in my family." Or they'll, I had someone yesterday, broke my heart, said, "I didn't understand the process here. I told my kid to apply, they didn't." And I just can't imagine a world like that. I just can't. At College Shortcuts, for us, we, after graduating from UPenn for my master's, receiving over $25,000, $30,000 in scholarships. There are ways to do this better. And I urge you, and I hope for all of you, that you take this time as a parent who's empowered and amazing. You're on this for a reason. There's a reason why you jumped on my live today, that you take action for your own family, your own legacy, because the college process has become ridden with stress and anxiety. And I can tell you, internally at College Shortcuts, our families feel incredible in the process. Their students are excited to share their story. It's the first time people and adults are asking them, what do you love? Why? Tell me more about your personality. I want to hear more about you. Do you know how rare a teenager gets that as an experience? It doesn't happen. Or, when they write an incredible essay. I have a student in my VIP program who wrote an essay about rejection and resilience. And I just commended her on it. I said, this skill you are learning right now that you wrote about is going to be the most powerful thing you've ever learned out of any subject you ever took in class, out of anything you've learned in general. If you continue to master this right here, you will be successful. And she just said, how do you know that? I was like, because I have experienced that. And I shared with her my own experience as an entrepreneur and how, early on in my life, I've had 1,000 people say no to me before, but I keep going. I know my message is there. There's billions of people on this planet, and the people that are meant to hear it will be here. And they'll be the ones that I get to help solve and make their lives easier and change their children's lives. And, when she said that, she said, yeah, you've definitely changed my life. Like, my SAT score, I'm working with your team. I'm doing an internship. I'm writing a research paper about, she's really passionate also, Erica, about finance as well, based out of New York area. And so she's writing a whole thing about psychology in the stock market. And she's like, yeah, before I met you, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And now I feel so excited about this process. And I think that's how we want all of our children to feel, right? Because we don't want kids that are stuck in the algorithm or stuck on video games all the time. We want them to be interacting, building their soft skills, and becoming the humans that we need them to build a better world. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. To finish up on what to do as a rising senior. So I shared that you fill out the Common App, you know your school list at this point, you fill out the information, you've done your activity list outside of it, you put it in, you've formatted your resume, you attach it, you put it in. The essay process, I gave you some examples here of kind of how the writing should be. It's just some freebies. You really want to make sure that main essay is strong. The main personal statement goes to every single college. So make sure it's gold. That needs to be edited heavily. Our students get roughly 10 to 20 different examples of essays, so they really know what to do in the process of what has worked in the last few years. So anyways, making sure they have good writing there. And then for the supplementals, really take those seriously, because the supplementals sometimes count more than the personal statement. Once all of that is done, you then copy it all into the application. There's also some boxes additional that you really need to think about if it relates to you. There's some boxes around, like, if there's anything missing in this application that you'd like to add, were there any severe challenges your child went through that you'd like to add? Those are usually 250 words or less. Make sure those are filled out if needed, and be very careful about how you write things. You don't want to do anything that's a sob story. It really is more about the challenges, what you learn, and more reflection. It's really about processing through that and being able to explain it in an effective way. Because I do know, as someone who's been through trauma and difficult things, it can be very hard to write about, but really understanding how to handle that with grace and gentleness is very important with our kids. Once you're done with all of that, everything gets inputted. Go through every single page of every single application. If you're looking at a 10 school program, 10 college list, you're looking at about 100 to 120 pages in the templates, not in the Common App itself. So go through every one of those pages. Ensure everything is written perfectly. Then you'll hit submit once everything is all completed. Ensure that your college counselor at school is sending over the right, transcript and information. And then also make sure your scores are being sent for SAT and ACT. So that would be what I would say for rising seniors needs to get done in the next 12 weeks or so. So that's that. Last step is going to be interview prep. Many students get interviews and offers to do interviews. So make sure that you are prepping your student. What that looks like is having them do their hair, get dressed, look professional, sit down with you across the table. We do it with our students through Zoom, and grilling them, really asking them a ton of questions about themselves, and then coaching them through their answers and ensuring that pitch is perfect. They need to be able to nail about a 45-minute time of being able to answer questions. So spend, quite a few hours on that. And by then, if you're able to kind of get that all together, that's really solid. The last step too would be looking at the CSS and the financial aid stuff. We do have an advisor on our team that does that with our families, but that's another aspect of the college admissions process as well. So those are my recommendations. You've got, the first deadline comes about October 15th. And I know that sounds far away, but, we're at pretty much mid-July. So July to August, August to September, September to October. That's 8 weeks from now. So if you think about that, 56 days from now, your student will be applying to college as a rising senior. Now, please do not rely on a human with a less developed prefrontal cortex to lead this process for you, in the sense of understanding deadlines and ensuring procrastination doesn't exist in this process. Because any senior who hasn't started at least, let me put it this way, this is how you know you're behind. If you have not already built a school list, requested your letters of recommendation, I didn't even touch on that on this, requested them in May, done with your activity list and resume, done with your personal statement, and are working through half your supplements right now, you are actually behind. It takes a lot of work to edit and work through that and all of those different pieces, plus ensuring your school counselor and everyone knows what you're doing for your school list so they submit their letter recommendations and forms at the beginning of the school year is going to be crucial. The earlier you apply as a rising senior, the better your chances are. So for everyone who's listening that doesn't have a senior, listen to me. Take this as your warning, because we start our college application process in spring semester of junior year. That is 9 or 10 months prior to the process, because we know how many steps it takes and how much work it is. Now, that's not to say we don't take on last minute students. We do, but it is a lot of work to cram in. Especially when I got an email last night from a parent who said, I have 22 colleges on my list and I want them all done in the next 3 months. Think about that. It's a lot of work. Masterpieces are not created in a very short amount of time, right? As a person who loves to paint and do art, writing, these are all things that take time to make something beautiful, right? When you look at something and you admire it in a museum, you're like, oh, that artist finished it in 2 weeks. No, that's not how it works. It's just not how it works. Creativity needs space and time to breathe and reflection, and maybe a walk outside and you notice something beautiful and something reminds you of something, and then you're like, ooh, let me add this in, right? It's that juicy peach, right? That moment you're like, So just remember, this is creativity. And if you're trying to slam it up against AP classes, extracurriculars, being a president of things, an SAT class, it's really hard to be creative when you're stressed. Actually, it's impossible. Just so you know. Creativity really comes from a place of like beauty and reflection and being able to take that time and that bite and that joy. So just remember that when your student's trying to work on things, your role as a parent is to help set them up for that kind of space. Give them that space. And at College Shortcuts, we provide that safe space for our students to break and crack them open to create the most beautiful essays possible. So I hope you enjoyed this casual Friday Ask Me Anything. Erica Lewis Huntley, thank you for the best question ever. Absolutely love the work you've done with your student. Sounds like he's an amazing student. Would love to connect with you and ensure that he gets into the college of his dreams. He looks like a competitive student who's done some really amazing things. It's going to be about how we package and present the student. Oh, thank you for the heart, everybody. Love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this casual hello. I've got to run. But please, if you'd like to speak with me one-on-one, go to collegeshortcuts.com. Click on Get My Ivy Action Plan or schedule right there on the site. Or if you want the direct link to the calendar, if you don't want to click two ways, you can go to collegeshortcuts.com/apply. It's been an honor and privilege to speak with you today, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Please make sure, if there's anything you take from this, take one step towards your kid's future. One step based on what I've shared. Write it down as a note of something to do in your note in your phone if you're watching, or write it down as something that, hey, I got to take action. Just take 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking, to move forward in your child's dreams. Have an amazing day. Bye, everyone.